All right, welcome back to the Queer Economy, where we celebrate LGBTQ plus people around the world as they impact business, culture, community, and more. I'm your host, Ben Ferney, and I'm so excited. Today we're joined by Tony Zosherafatén, who is an award-winning director, producer, and writer known for his timely and innovative stories. He directed, wrote, and hosted the TV series Trans and Trumpland, which was shortlisted for an Emmy, received a lot of attention, and was nominated for a GLAAD Media Award. So Tony, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, thank you, Ben, and excellent pronunciation of the last name. I'm so excited. Exactly. I'm so excited to be on this podcast and chat with you. Like you mentioned, Trans and Trumpland making its way out into the world again. It was shot during the first administration, but oh my God, it has intensified. So yeah, I'm excited for this conversation with you.
Totally. And there's so much to unpack and talk about, and I'm excited to hear about all the different aspects of your journey. But before we dive into that, I'd love to just give you a chance to introduce yourself. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? Some of the fun things that maybe I couldn't find online to introduce you with.
Yeah, so I live in New York City in Queens, but I am a Boston native, so I've kept my Boston sports loyalty all these years. I do kind of like the Mets though, so there's that. But yeah, originally from Boston, kind of lost my Boston accent a bit though. New York kicked that out of me. Yeah, I went to college in Connecticut at Wesleyan, studied a bit of film there, also majored in political science. So I'm very I love talking about political stuff. I've been a documentarian since, oh boy, when was the year? 2012. Mostly focusing on trans and queer stories. Some things that you might not find out about me online. I love, love, love to hike. Enjoy a good strong cup of coffee. I love cheesy rom-coms too. What else? Oh, I grew up first generation American. So my mom was born in Greece. My dad was born in Iran. So I'm mixed. And yeah, also a proud trans man as well.
Awesome. So many good things. I'm so
Yeah.
glad we got you on the show. So you said that you've been a documentarian since 2012. I'd love to hear a little bit more about what led you to that point, your education, your experiences, your passions, and kind of the early days of you headed down this path.
Yeah, so after graduating from college in 2010, I moved to New York City and I knew I wanted to get into film in some way. Specifically, what drew me to documentaries was like, I just love telling other people's stories. Like, everyone likes to talk about themselves, but I really get intrigued by like what other people have like struggled against and what they've overcome. Especially, I focus on trans and queer stories because I felt like at the time in 2012, I saw a huge like lack of queer and trans stories. There was kind of a burgeoning like increase in them, but like specifically trans stories told by trans people. So I was like, why don't I just become a filmmaker full time so I can tell these stories? So that's what drew me in, was just seeing such a lack of trans and queer stories told by us. So both in front of the camera and behind the camera. So it's been a journey. I love it. It's, filmmaking can be challenging, but it's also very rewarding to tell other people's stories and also like educate people who aren't part of the LGBTQ community as well.
Totally. And what a powerful example of seeing a gap or seeing something you wish could change and then taking actions to help change it. I think sometimes it's easy to go, I wish this or I wish that, and then nothing changes. But when people like you have the courage to step up and make those changes and contribute, it makes such a difference. So major kudos to you for that.
Yeah, thank you. And same for you too, like creating this podcast, creating this platform. Like I feel like when we as queer and trans people take our own power back and like take the initiative and put things out there, that's how change happens instead of waiting on people to do things for us.
Totally. And there's totally an element too about taking the narrative back, like you said, because at the end of the day, the media can say what they want, politicians are going to say what they want about the LGBTQ community, but the reality is we are in every single community around the globe, big city, small town, conservative, not conservative, all the different combinations you can come up with of what makes up a community. There's a queer person pretty much everywhere. And our stories need to be told. And sometimes the news or politicians aren't going to get it right, so we need to make sure that we're getting it right and creating that opportunity. So I love it.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just dive in. I mean, you talked a little bit about what led you to that point. So I'd love to hear about the beginning of, the first documentaries you made, your first ideas, and then take us all the way to Trans and Trumpland and that.
Yeah, so that same year, 2012, my first documentary was a documentary short. Because a lot of filmmakers, we start out making short films. They're just easier to produce, they're less money before we make our big projects. That first short film was I Am Isaac, and I found a trans guy in Norway named Isaac, and we just connected. I found him on Instagram, and I like loved all his like Buddhism and like just his zenness, and we just got along. So I was like, I want to go to Norway too. So I was like, okay, you live in this small like fishing village. Can we connect? Can I film you? And he was like, absolutely. So that was my first film. It was about 30 minutes about this trans guy in Norway discussing his transition, the difficulties he faced with like family acceptance and like how he navigates daily life. It got into film festivals. It did pretty well. So I really got inspired by his journey as well and like how well that film did. I was like, I want to keep going. So I did some short films like here and there between then. But my big project, which I thought of in 2016, the first week that I think it was 2016. It's a lot of like, damn, when did this start? 2016's first, time getting elected. I was like, the first week, Trans and Trumpland as a title popped into my head just randomly. I was just like doing dishes or something. And it was like Trans and Trumpland. I'm like, is this like a message from the universe or something? So I started talking to my mom at the time about it, and I was like, what do you think? And she's like, I think you do need to document what's going on. So that was 2016. That was my first like big project. And then we started filming in 2019. So yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, I had some mostly doing short films up until Trans and Trumpland, and I created Trans and Trumpland to fight back and just show how trans people were resilient during the first Trump administration and now during the second. So, yeah.
It looks like it's a TV series. How many episodes are there? How many stories are covered? Tell me a little bit more of the details about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we released it at first in 2021. So like we kind of got that like Biden era time. So it was a little like that first release was good. It was a 4 episode series, but I think it's more like relative now the way it's edited together as a film, and it's like actually during the Trump, second Trump era. Those 4 episodes we filmed in North Carolina, Texas, Mississippi, and Idaho, and each of those episodes is a different trans person. So like North Carolina, young trans boy living there. Texas is a trans woman who's Mexican American detained by ICE. Mississippi is a black trans woman who runs the state's only trans nonprofit in Mississippi. And then Idaho is a two-spirit Native American person who is in the military living there. So very different people. And it gives you like a slice of American life, like just showing, like you said, how we're in every community. So yeah, it's back out there as a film if people want to watch it.
Awesome. And where is it available to watch? Give us the full plug.
Yeah, it's for free with ads on Prime Video. Apple TV, you can rent it, but no ads. And then Tubi, it's free as well. I think Tubi usually has ads. So yeah, those 3 platforms. We might be available in the future on some other platforms too, but I feel like it's a good spread. So Prime, Apple TV, and Tubi. I'm hoping most people have those. But Tubi's free to sign up for, so that's an easy one to watch it on.
Awesome. And cool that you're on 3 different platforms too. So hopefully everyone has at least one of those.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. I still can't believe we're in the second Trump term, but I guess this is my way of fighting back, resisting.
Yeah. So you first had that idea when the title popped into your head, and then what was the timeline of I have this idea to filming all the stories till you said it came out in 2021, right?
Yeah. It took a while. We had a lot of footage. So 2016, like literally actually not even the first week, that was like the day after he won, and I was like in my despair, and the title popped into my head, and I was like, oh, this could be a really good way of showcasing what's going to happen, because I just had a feeling that he would come after trans and queer rights. So I conceptualized it, like it took about a year to find those 4 people, because I really wanted to make sure they were a good fit, and they were. 2017 to 2018, we're fundraising, doing all that boring stuff that goes into filmmaking. And then 2019 finally got around to about a year of filming because each state, needed its time. Captured a lot of footage, a lot of amazing stuff, a lot of great interviews. I wish we could have fit in more states, but it would have been like too gigantic of a project. So yeah, we probably got around to like editing it 2020, and then we were, acquired by a streamer back in 2021, which was great. Yeah, to my aspiring filmmakers out there, it's a process. Filmmaking can take years, but it's like worth it because if you're patient, you'll get the best like quality product out there. So I'm really just proud of the people that participated as like crew members and as the subjects we interviewed because we were just so like meshing together. And I really feel like since it's been out there, it's changed a lot of like mindsets too, like people that are not queer or trans. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it's easy to be really focused on the timeline of a project or something we're passionate about and feeling like we have to get it done in weeks or months or days even. But at the end of the day, if it takes a few years, that's totally fine because, I mean, look at this project and look at what you were able to produce when you took the time and put all of that energy and effort into it. It's incredible.
Thank you.
I'd love to hear a little bit more about some of your thoughts and feelings around really the courage to pursue this project specifically, where it is, kind of a heightened time politically, so it can be kind of stressful. Plus, it's so personal with your own identity that I think a lot of times it's easy to go, I don't know if it's safe. I'm nervous about this. I'm just going to try to blend in and buckle down and get through. But it takes a special kind of courage to step up and go, there's a story to be told and let's say it. And this is a way that we can fight back. So I'd love to hear some of your perspective and some of your experience with that.
Yeah, I think like existing in this year and like just what's happened recently as a LGBTQ person, specifically LGBTQ American, it is hard. Like even just existing and being out and being visible and doing the activism that we do is like it can elicit fear. But I think that for me, what's motivated me to have the courage to tell this story and put it out there again in the world and just be visible as a trans man is knowing that fascism wins when we are in fear. It thrives on fear, it thrives on anxiety, it thrives on like putting us back in the closet. But we win, and we win together with our allies when we are visible and ourselves and refuse to be fearful. And that's hard. Anxiety is tough. But I think that the more people that say no and refuse to back down, the more we're going to fight back and win. And I think we're already starting to win a bit, honestly, with these elections and this shift that'll probably happen in 2026. Manifesting it. I'm putting it out there. Yeah.
And I think exactly what you just said, it can look different for every person, Sometimes it's being willing to have the courage to have a conversation with your neighbor or someone at the grocery store when you overhear them say something, and with lots of respect, you inquire and are able to have a conversation, maybe share your experience, and maybe they walk away with a changed perspective because now they've interacted with someone who's LGBTQ or whatever it might be, whether it's, as small as having dialogue on social media, which can be really crazy sometimes, or talking to people in your community, or building a platform, or for you, a full documentary. I think it looks different for everyone, but as long as we're willing to take some sort of step, whether it's changing people's minds, helping them see the humanity behind us, or on a small or large scale, I think it can make a big difference. So I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Okay, so who have been some of the biggest supporters in your life throughout your own identity journey as well as your professional pursuits?
Yeah, definitely. It's like that saying, we're all a village, right? We exist as individuals, but we're part of a bigger community. My automatic answer is like my friends. I think especially in the LGBTQ community, our family of origin, our birth family sometimes is not accepting. I definitely had my challenges with mine, they're accepting now, but I see friends as chosen family. So especially like discussing this project, the Trans and Trumpland at the beginning with my friends, they were instantly supportive. My mom was really supportive too. But yeah, that's what I would say sustains me. Like when I'm dealing with transphobia or I'm feeling fearful, My friends, especially my queer and trans friends, because they just get it. Yeah, that's what I would say. Like, obviously, I have, filmmakers I've looked up to and whatnot, actors like Elliot Page. But my friends are my day-to-day supporters, and I love them. And yeah, I feel like friendship is so powerful, especially in our community.
100%. And that type of community building, whether in all the different forms it can look like, that type of community building really can make such a difference. And it's the type of people that we can rely on when we might be struggling, or we can be there for them when they're going through something. So makes a huge difference. Okay, so you first released Trans and Trumpland in 2021, and then it's kind of resurfaced more throughout this last year for very obvious reasons. I'd love to hear more since it's been released in kind of all the time, but since it's been released, what impact have you seen? You kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, that it's had quite an impact, so I'd love to hear the impact.
Yeah, I think like we did a lot more sort of traditional press in 2021 when it came out because we released it, I believe it was January 2021. So it was like the Biden inauguration. So as much as I was happy to like get a Democrat president in there, I was like, the timing is not quite right. It still did well, at the, like when we first released in 2021, nominated for a GLAAD award, and then shortlisted for an Emmy. It made a lot of impact just on changing minds, and a lot of like community organizations, screened it. But I think it's more impactful now because it's like directly during this second term. And we recently, like, we put our trailer out there, and it's like, I feel like it's making, even that trailer on Instagram is like making an impact. Like people writing, like, this is making me cry in a good way, or like, I feel seen as the parent of trans kids. So I do think it's more relevant because the issues that we covered, like specifically like the trans woman detained by ICE, for example, this is more relevant now because of everything going on. I think more people are watching it. And I think that I'm grateful for that because it's like good. Like I want this to like make a lot of people to be seen and validated and heard. So I think it's making more of an impact, even though it's like not as much press this time around. I think on social media, it's getting around more and more. And I'm happy. My only intent with it is like to just educate people and make them feel seen.
I love that. Okay, so what's next? What are some of the next projects you're looking at, or ideas you have, things you're excited for?
Yeah, no, thank you for asking. Next project that we'll be filming in January is a project called Affirmation. And that is a story that features a trans man and cis man falling in love. So it's a queer love story. I'll be producing that. My friend's directing it. I'm excited because I love the cast that we have. It's Emmett Preciado and Leo Shang, really good like trans masculine actors. I also just love like romance, like even rom-coms. This is kind of rom-com-y, so it's a short film that I'm producing. And then the second project that's being edited is like a short film about Lauren Cameron, who is a trans like photographer and activist. So I'm excited about that. And then I think I'm gonna also do like a feature documentary, a longer documentary about just my love for like nature and the outdoors, and maybe featuring some kind of like athletic feats that I'm interested in. But I'm not sure what it'll look like, but it'll be something like that. Yeah.
Cool. Lots of
Yeah.
fun things coming down the road for you. So the best place for everyone to keep updated and know when things like this are live. Tell us more about that, how they can keep up with you.
Yeah, I think in today's social media world, good question. Yeah, it's like, oh man, it's like all these, platforms. I feel like I'm not very active on TikTok. So Instagram. Instagram is the best way to stay connected. On Instagram, I'm at Tony Z Films. And Trans and Trumpland is at Trans and Trumpland. So on Instagram as well. Post a lot of updates on Instagram. My website, which I think is TonyZosherafatén.com. So it's a little much. So yeah, Instagram is the best way to stay updated. I'm on LinkedIn as well, but I barely post there. So
Cool. Okay, Tony, this is so fun. I love it. It's fun to see. It's just always fun to hear other successful queer stories and see the impact that you're having, small and large. So, if there's someone who is listening to this, who is in a small community, maybe they're still in the closet, maybe they're young, and they're still figuring out who they are somewhere in the queer scale of life, and they want to be successful, but they also want to be confident in their identity, what kind of message would you give to them?
Yeah, no, absolutely. My message would be you are valid, you're powerful, you exist, no matter what any politician says about you. The fact that a politician needs to focus on you, especially if you're queer trans, like that shows how powerful you are. So I would say that. I would also say don't underestimate the power of community where you are. You can find people and you can thrive as well. So that'd be my message is like you're far more powerful than you think you are. You exist, you're valid, you're a human being, and you can find community and foster community wherever you are. And sometimes, as they say, like that saying, like, if you build it, they will come. If you take the initiative and you create community where you are, you'll make friends, you'll find your people. So, and stay strong, please.
Perfect. It's worth it. There's a lot of hope and happiness ahead.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, before we head to how we wrap up our episodes with just a lightning round of fun questions, do you have any other stories or any other things you'd like to share?
I know I'm like, there's so many good travel stories. I'm trying to think if there's any like fun little travel things from Trans and Trumpland. I know it's like so hard to choose. I guess I could talk about like the hope, like just traveling and seeing like hope around the country. I don't know, I think like traveling and filming Trans and Trumpland, I not only got to interact with like amazing trans and queer people and just see how they're building community in like the rarest of places and even in rural areas, but I also saw how like the media portrays America as being so divided, but I also saw moments where people are not so divided. Even if our identities are different, like just seeing like even neighbors helping neighbors, like in Idaho, the person we were interviewing needed help like putting something on his truck, and his neighbor who like looked really like traditional MAGA and probably voted MAGA like came out and helped him, and they were just like interacting. And just like other stories of like just people being like way more helpful towards each other and united, and even just like people that you think might be conservative aren't, that it inspired me to be hopeful too. Like I really think that like we might have more in common than the media likes to portray us as having. Like, I feel like division also sells and like controversy sells, but like unity is like I think it's possible. I really think it's possible in this country.
Yeah. And for you to be someone who's seen that firsthand in various different states with very different people, I think adds a lot of weight to that. So I love that.
Exactly.
That's the perfect way to head towards the end of the episode, is just knowing that there's hope ahead. And honestly, at the end of the day, sometimes we just need to turn off the news, put down our phone, and go talk to someone who's different from us. And we'll be amazed at what we can learn and how both of us walk away better than before the conversation. So,
yeah,
I love that.
Exactly.
All right, here we go to the way we wrap up our episodes. It's just fun, fast, lighthearted questions. You ready?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. First one. You love rom-coms. What's your favorite rom-com?
I'm gonna have to go with Bridesmaids. It is just, I don't know what it is. I think I've watched it literally 20 times. If I ever get married at my bachelor party, I'm gonna make all the guys watch it. It's just so funny. Like, I can quote it. I love it.
Okay, you also love coffee. So what's your favorite, the best coffee? How is that made for you?
Man, even though I'm a Boston native, Duncan, sometimes I love you, but I'm not gonna choose you for this one. I think it's like, I love cold brews with like the amazing foam on top. So it could probably like a caramel like foam top with like a strong cold brew is like, yeah, ice too. So yeah, that would be my answer. Sorry, Duncan. I still love you as a Boston native, but sometimes we need something stronger.
Perfect. Okay, if you had to describe your perfect day in 3 words, what 3 words would you choose?
Ooh, energize, outside, and like awe-inspiring. Because I love, especially in the weekend, get up and go hike and just be inspired by nature. Just be off my phone. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. What's your favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Ooh, so many. I've been to so far 40 out of 50 states. Yeah, I'll keep it domestic because I know there's international places that are cool, but I am gonna choose Utah actually as my favorite US state. Just because the national parks there are like Zion and Arches and Bryce, all the national parks there are just incredible. I would say close second was Alaska, this past August that I went to, but they're tied, but like the nature there. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Maybe not the politics, but the nature.
And hopefully we
Yeah.
can keep it public lands, even though some of the politicians are trying to do some crazy things with our natures. Anyway, this is the lightning round of fast, so that was good. Okay, what's your favorite dessert?
Ice cream, for sure. Rocky Road. Yeah.
Favorite piece of advice you've ever received?
I feel like I've received so many. Okay, how can I succinctly say this? I think it's like, especially in Buddhism, like adversity and pain serves a purpose. I don't know if there's a specific quote in there, but that like it's you can't like hide from pain. It's a lesson. So maybe the quote there is like pain is a teacher. And I feel like there's always a bright side to like for every rainy day, there's, gonna be a sunny day.
Good. That's a good way to move through life with that kind of perspective.
Oh.
Okay, my favorite question, the one I always end with, is let's say you're in a tall building. You get on the elevator. The other person on the elevator is your younger self. You can pick what age and what phase of life, but you've got a very short elevator ride with your younger self. What message would you say? What would you say to yourself?
Ooh, I'm gonna choose like 11 as the age. I would say to my younger self, the man you always envisioned growing up, assigned female birth, the man you always envisioned is gonna come true. Just stay hopeful. Because I always like envisioned being a guy, but couldn't see the possibility. So I would say like, don't worry, like you are a man, you're a guy. All your dreams are gonna come true with that.
Awesome. I love that. It's fun to look back and see how far we've come.
Right? It totally is. It's wild.
Yeah. Okay. Tony, thank you so much. This was so meaningful. I can't wait to go watch in full Trans and Trumpland, as well as look up some of your other things that you've done and keep updated with your future projects. Thank you so much for being here. And to everyone listening, that's it for today's show.
Thank you, Ben, for having me. I've enjoyed this conversation.
Awesome. Okay, that's it for today's show. Thank you all for tuning in. Please be sure you follow Tony, as well as subscribe and rate and review our podcast so we can help more people hear these incredible stories. Until next time, be kind, be bold, be you. That's all for now.